Let's go. The Eagles are on the hunt to improve to 5-0, but the Broncos do present some difficult challenges. Fortunately, some of Denver's decisions play into Philly's strengths, but will Kevin Patullo take advantage of them? In this video, I'll get you ready for Sunday's matchup, go over all the storylines you need to know beforehand, and share the best picks and predictions for you and the Birds to get a dub. So let's talk about that and everything else ahead of Week 5. But first, let's run it.
The reality is, even though how important we all are, when the O-line's going, no one stands a chance.
What's up, guys? Got a big opportunity for the Eagles coming up and also for you if you want to score some game tickets if this video can get to 5,000 likes. So drop a like, get a chance. I'll share more on that in just a second. For now, let's talk about the offensive answers that apparently Philly has suggested they've been working on to find ahead of the Broncos this week.
I'll believe it when I see it.
That's fair. That's totally fair after the first 4 weeks of the season. Yet I will say we're getting the NFL's best red zone offense facing off against the NFL's best red zone defense in Week 5. That's right, the Eagles have been perfect in getting in the red zone this season, 11 for 11 on the year. Meanwhile, the Broncos have also been great when the field condenses, giving up just 3 touchdowns on defense on their opponent's 12 drives inside the 20. So we'll see who can come out on top. Although I'm not sure what to make of the practices in Denver ahead of this week's showdown, since head coach Sean Payton said he was trying to get his squad ready by pumping in the Eagles fight song during practice.
Everything that I've heard, I wouldn't expect anything different.
How many times do opposing teams do this right before playing the Eagles? And 1, it doesn't work, and 2, it doesn't make any sense. Heck, that song only gets played after the Birds score. Plus, in case you don't recall, the last team to play the fight song at their practice was the Washington Commanders ahead of the NFC Championship game last season, and look how that turned out. Yeah, we literally lost track of how many touchdowns Philly scored.
Not 5, not 6, not 7.
Okay, realistically, I'm not expecting a 55-point explosion. You aren't either. No one is at this point. But it's like, look, if we could just have a little more consistency, not deal with the struggles that it's been from one half to the next. Of course, before I get into the full preview, go down to the comments section and let me know who you think is the first touchdown scorer in the game against the Broncos. Because if you get it right and the Eagles win, then I'm going to give away any Eagles jersey of your choice to one lucky subscriber via the randomized spinner at the end of the game stream on Sunday. However, this is why I say to hit the like button, because if you can get this video to 5,000 likes, then that jersey of your choice turns into 2 Eagles tickets to any game of your choice. So what are you waiting for? Enter that name in the comments and then come hang out with us during the live stream to cheer on the Eagles Sunday.
Got to finish this, but you know, GLES Eagles, come on.
Let's
go.
This
is the start you wanted.
Look, the last couple weeks, I've stuck with A.J. Brown to get the offense out of a funk, score first. Not sure that I'm going to go that direction this week. Now, even though it hasn't worked, I can appreciate 11's competitive drive to take the ball in crunch time moments. Although, like I said, with this week and everything that's gone on, it's probably not the week to expect AJ to break out.
And give the ball to me. I want that. I want that pressure. I put it on myself, and I work hard for it. And so that's what, the misconstruction or whatever you misconstrue, whatever perspective you can about me, but it is what it is. And I don't care, to be honest, because my teammates know. My teammates know that when the game's on the line, look at me.
When there's drama around a player like that, wanting more targets, are you cognizant of that as a cornerback? Like, hey, they might be intentional and try to get him the ball early and often because of the way that last week ended?
I don't know. Maybe, probably. But, we'll see.
It is funny because most of the time you don't hear the players admitting they hear or know what's going on in the media, but when it comes to the Super Bowl champs, there's a little bit extra attention, which is what I expect AJ to get from Patrick Surtain this weekend. After all, the reigning Defensive Player of the Year has matched up with an offense's #1 receiver 220 times since the start of 2024 and pretty much locked them down every game. Honestly, you look at the Broncos defense and there's 2 certainties. They're going to use a lot of man coverage and will be blitzing as well. Having said that, though, the good news is that plays right into Philly's strengths.
9 times out of 10, if they're matching one guy with another guy, they're playing a lot of man coverage. And if you look at the Eagles versus man coverage and Jalen Hurts, they have just annihilated teams. The types of defenses we have struggled with have been more zone coverage based. So while that might hinder AJ's production as an offense and as a team, bring the man on, baby. I think you put man against our team and the players that we have and the quarterback and what he brings to the table, I feel very confident in the Eagles having success against that.
Not going to lie, but this one really feels like the matchup for Smitty to get going against Broncos cornerback Riley Moss.
Nothing on offense is going good right now. And I think that's where the frustration comes with a lot of us. Not that, we just want the ball and things like that. We want the offense to be moving in the right direction. And right now, we're not doing it. The defense is carrying us. The defense is playing lights out. Special teams is doing some good things right now. Offensively, we have to be better. I think it don't matter who's on us. I mean, we both feel like we're those guys that no matter who's on us, we have the opportunity to take over games and things like that. But I mean, ultimately, we just playmakers that just want to go out there and be able to make the play.
I mean, give him some credit because he's been good this season, but DeVonta should get some looks with more of the attention going to AJ. Which is why I'm going to say this right now. Expect the Slim Reaper to start out October with a bang. And also, you can too if you get signed up with Underdog. Because right now, as one of the official season-long sponsors, you can get $100 in bonus funds when you play $5 and get 2 free gimme picks. All you got to do is scan the QR code, use code Philly Special, or click the link in the description. Also, right now is the start of Boosttober, meaning Underdog is giving out boosted payouts every single day during the month of October. So yeah, not a better time to get signed up and start winning big. Plus, this weekend, they're also offering extra incentives with up to an extra 60% boost on top of that. So go ahead and get signed up, and then feel free to tell this week's picks where I'm rolling with a DeVonta Smith anytime touchdown, Saquon Barkley to finally get going on the ground and rush for over 80 yards, and then Q to limit Courtland Sutton to lower than 56 receiving yards. Again, good luck to everybody telling. Make sure to scan the QR code, use code Philly Special, or click the link in the description. $5 in a play gets you $100 in bonus funds and all the other free gimmies. Okay, the Broncos are a tough team to figure out. I mean, think about the fact that they're 2-2, yet they actually haven't trailed in the fourth quarter this season.
But that makes no sense.
Okay, technically, it depends on how you view it, but they've lost on 2 last-second field goals as time expired. Either way, pretty impressive, I guess, is one way to put it. Although the flip side of that argument is, yeah, but their only 2 wins have come against the Bengals team led by Jake Browning and the Tennessee Titans and Cam Ward. So it's understandable for Denver lining up the defending Super Bowl champs in order to make a statement this weekend.
It definitely means something. Like, I think you do have several measuring stick games. I think, like, when you play the better teams, you want to win because you want to prove to yourself. You want to prove yourself right, and everything we talked about. Everything we talk about in the off season. The goal of being a Super Bowl contender, all this stuff. So when you play these teams, it is a measuring stick.
Well, they're going to get their chance to prove that on Sunday, and as most things do, it's going to come down to the trenches. Since we're looking at one of the worst O-lines so far this season in the Eagles going up against the best pass rush in the NFL in the Broncos. That's right, Denver leads the NFL in sacks with 15, quarterback hits with 41, and pressure rate a ridiculous 47.1% through week 4. And if we're giving individual credit, then that starts with edge rusher Nick Bonitto as he leads the NFL with 27 pressures. To put that into perspective, and maybe not make you feel as great, but Zack Baun, Jalix Hunt, and Jalen Carter combined to have 29 pressures. Meanwhile, Bonitto has almost that same number and 4.5 sacks already. By the way, shout out to Jeff Mosher, but Bonitto's 31.4% win rate is absolutely absurd and blows everyone else away. Heck, the next closest for any edge rusher with at least 50 pass rushes is edge Al-Quadin Muhammad with 23.1%, followed by Micah Parsons at 22.4%. Plus, when you add in Jonathan Cooper on the other edge, those two have combined for 31 sacks in the past 21 games. At the same time, there's an incredible amount of depth in Denver's pass rush. It's not just those two, a lot of the other guys, and the most impressive part might be their rush discipline. Now, personally, the answer to limiting it is hopefully to get Saquon Barkley going and running the football well. Since if there's an area to attack, it'd probably be the running game.
Reality is, even though how important we all are, when the O-line's going, no one stands a chance.
Don't worry, I'll discuss that with Brandon Perna a little bit later. Anyway, on the defensive side, the QB play might be a similar style to what we saw from Baker Mayfield last week in Bo Nix.
He's a lot like Baker Mayfield. I think he might be Baker's younger brother. Really good. Really, really good. Just watch Mayfield. I mean, he's a scrambler. He's a competitor. He'll throw the ball in tight places. He runs their offense really well. I think Sean's done a great job bringing him along. And they got their quarterback for the future.
Say what you will about Knicks, but I should mention that he's had kind of a slower, not really a struggle, but just a slower, quieter start to the start of this season than he did towards the end of last season. However, he very clearly has his favorite target in Courtland Sutton, so I'd be surprised if we don't see Quinyon Mitchell trying to shadow him the entire game. By the way, back to that graphic I shared earlier, but Q is actually number 2 on that list when it comes to matching up man-to-man and locking dudes down. Come on, we've seen him really turning into the next All-Pro the past 2 weeks by shutting down Davante Adams and Emeka Egbuka.
I thought he played very well the other day. I told him I think it was his best game since he's been here.
He's grown a lot. A lot more confident, as you guys can probably see. Talking a little more trash, which is fun. No, he's done a great job. I think, year one he had that experience starting all season, and then he's only in year 2. He's got some of his best football ahead of him still, and he's playing at a high level already, and I know he'll continue to do that.
I think he's a great corner. He's got it all. He possessed the skill traits that you look for in a corner. He's very feisty. He's got great feet, great fundamentals. So I think he's going to be a great corner for years to come.
By the way, you hear those sound bites, and I can't help but recognize how insanely lucky we are that Christian Parker even stayed with the Eagles, and he's here for another season with Q. Heck, I don't know of a better resume. First, CP coached PS2 to an All-Pro status, and now he's doing the same thing with Guantanamo Bay.
We go man for man. We step toes, and the single receiver group that can y'all.
For sure. For sure.
You got to bring that every day.
I got you. I got you.
Seriously, Q has been unreal this season. Like, we're talking about allowing just 12 catches for 129 yards on 27 targets. Meanwhile, his opposing catch percentage of 44.4% is second in the NFL out of corners who have at least 20 targets. Oh yeah, and also his average separation per target of 1.6 yards is also second among the same qualified corners, something the Broncos are very much aware of.
You can see the marked improvement from last year this year. He stars the best receiver at times. He's got good length. He runs well. I mean, he's impressive on tape.
Them boys going to be disciplined. They're going to play hard. They're going to fly around. The guys are, trying to get the ball out. They just do a really good job of, taking the coaching that he puts out there. I've never got to sit in one of his defensive meetings, but understanding how he talks about the game by itself, I know he's going to expect those guys to go out there and play hard, play fast, and that's what they've been doing. That's what allowed them to be champions last year. That's what allowed them to start the season fast so far this far in the season.
If there's one weakness, or I guess the biggest weakness for Fangio's defense, it's probably the run defense. Now, for the record, they've been making some improvements, but they're still averaging to give up 4.8 yards per carry. Meanwhile, the Broncos have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, and running back JK Dobbins has been having a really good season. In fact, Dobbins is currently 4th in the NFL in rushing yards behind only Jonathan Taylor, James Cook, and Travis Etienne. So Fangio has undoubtedly put an extra focus on stopping the run above all else.
He's an excellent play caller. They're very multiple on offense with multiple personnel groups, multiple schemes from the play standpoint, but yet still has a good bit of old school in them, and they'll run the ball. They like the power game and the run game. He's really good. He's tough to go against.
This is where I'm at. If they can make Denver a one-dimensional team, then I'll be feeling very confident about the game. Of course, when you look at the weather forecast of a high of 81, no rain, and wind around 7 miles per hour, it should be a great day for football. That is assuming no last-minute scares or unfortunate injury updates. And thankfully, it does not sound like that's the case, because even though, yes, Jihaad Campbell was out of Friday's practice, you probably already heard that, it was due to personal reasons, and he will still play on Sunday. Meanwhile, Grant Calcaterra, Dallas Goedert, Jalen Carter, Adoree Jackson, and Lane Johnson were all full participants during Friday's practice and are good to go for Week 5. Honestly, the only guy who's not going to play is Nakobe Dean, but he was still a full participant, so you've got to imagine next week we're probably going to see Nakobe. Either way, I'm fine with it personally, because no need to rush him back. And then when it comes to the Broncos, you'll notice that every single player that we'd been talking about previously was listed as a full participant, with the exception of Lucas Krull, who has a foot injury and is out for the game. But either way, no major losses there, so both teams should be at about as full a strength as possible. Just gotta say, it's kind of nice to change things up after the first 4 weeks of the season were against opponents that know us and we know them extremely well. At the same time, that'll present some unique challenges to both teams this week. So I figured, how about get some more insight from That's Good Sports' Brandon Perna on what to expect from the Broncos.
Thanks for having me. I put my name as John Elway, so I would like to be referred to as John Elway.
My apologies, John Elway.
Thank you. You have John Elway here. I currently feel, I would say, slightly disappointed with the way the season has started for the Broncos. I'm fine with being at 2-2. Okay, big, easy win over the Bengals. I think the Bengals are very, very, very bad, so I don't want to put too much stock into that victory. I'm really going to gauge where the Broncos are at after they play Philadelphia this week. I think that's going to give me a better read on how optimistic I should be for December and January, because they've just lost 2 close games, one to the Chargers, one to the Colts. Had they just been victorious in one of those outings, I think we'd feel a lot better here in Broncos country. But it's because we had expectations heading into this season. Like, when you have some expectations, then, you can be let down. Last year, we didn't have those. They get into the playoffs. Now we thought we're going to start where we ended last season. And it kind of just feels like they took a step back, and now they're getting things going again. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Not sneaking
a
up.
little nervous.
I was going to say, not sneaking up on teams as much as last year. So,
Sure.
hopefully not for us. Obviously I'm biased here, but for the Eagles in that sense. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, you guys, I forget who mentioned the tweet, but you guys have not trailed in the fourth quarter. I mean, it depends on how you count it, but like up until the last field goal. So,
so
I would say my sympathies there for you. That's always a difficult way to lose.
It's one of those stats that you hate, because they haven't trailed in the fourth quarter at all this season. Both of their losses came as time expired. So they've never trailed in the fourth quarter. They also have an overall positive point differential in every single quarter this season. So that's annoying.
That weird.
Just seems impossible, right? And yeah, that's one of those numbers that just lies to you. It's like, never trailed in the fourth and positive point differential every quarter. They should be 4-0.
At least.
Numbers are dirty little liars, man. They are dirty little lying numbers.
They say stats don't lie, but that one feels like a stats lying on that one. I mean, that's like you say. At the very least, it feels like it should be 3-1. But even a 4-0 for that's crazy. I didn't even know the breakdown for the quarters there. So
tell me something bad about the Eagles.
Yeah, I have some of that for sure, which is weird to say, right? Because you have a 4-0 team, and someone who's not watched a single second of the Eagles might go, "Oh, they're undefeated. The Eagles are just on this path to win another Super Bowl." But yeah, it's been a slow start, even with a 4-0. They're playing very inconsistently. I think one of the biggest struggles, you ask any Eagles fan, the first thing out of their mouth is going to say Kevin Patullo, offensive coordinator, shouldn't have gotten a job, it may be overreaction, but he's had instances where it's like, what are we doing there? The play action has been virtually non-existent, and you'd think, you're coming off a season with a running back that's had over 2,000 yards and Saquon Barkley, and defense is keying off of that. Maybe some play action, but no, they don't really want to do that too much. I know it's not Kellen Moore. They decided to go with the internal hire. We had this issue in 2023 when Brian Johnson was brought in as the OC after Shane Steichen, took the Colts job. But I do think it's a little bit different. I won't go into all the specific details and everything like that, but Eagles fans know what I'm talking about. But it's like there is a case to be made. The players are still sticking up for Kevin Patullo. There's a belief there, and we see it for like bits and pieces, like the second half against the Rams game. I don't know what the first half was. The first half was Pee Wee football, and then all of a sudden they come out and they're like, "Oh, hey, let's maybe play. Let's play aggressive. We got all the firepower we need." And then the Bucs game starts out that way in the first half, but then the second half they revert to super conservative play calling, have a whole lot of issues. AJ Brown being frustrated, understandably so. I mean, the dude has, in 3 of the 4 games, he's got less than 40 yards in those games, each of those games. It's like, that should never happen for A.J. Brown. So, yeah, there's one of your weaknesses and potential areas that the Broncos could take advantage of right there, the defense.
Yeah, we'll try and take advantage of a new offensive coordinator. And I think, like, that's losing coordinators is tough. And I think like what great offensive coordinators do, or at least like what I've learned, it's how they set themselves up for success with their calls, right? It's never just about which play they call. It's like I'm doing this because that's going to open up this. And I think that's just one of those things. It takes time to learn, and it's also one of those things you can map out what you want to do, but once the game starts and things change, it's how you adapt to those changes and the unpredictable things. And I know Philly fans are very patient, so I'm sure they'll be very rational about
of course,
this learning curve.
We haven't seen any fire Kevin Patullo after 4 weeks being 4-0. It's like
there's been a lot of love though on Twitter between Eagles fans and Broncos fans, which you rarely see. There's somebody in the Eagles verse tweeted something about like how much they get along with Broncos fans, and then it started like this whole thing. And I think it's because the Eagles, you vanquished the Chiefs for us in the Super Bowl, and we freaking hate the Chiefs. Yeah. Making sure they didn't three-peat, like we will, like when I die, I will bequeath money to the Eagles just for that alone.
Okay.
And then also, when you beat the Patriots were the most hated team by Broncos fans because the rivalry when Manning was here with the Patriots, with Brady, like that got big. So like you guys knocking them off too, like you've killed two of our enemies. So we'll always be grateful for that.
Okay. Well, so see, the important question then that comes from this is I was just wondering how I could fit this in, but this is a perfect segue here. Have we done enough? Could we please be removed from the godforsaken curse wheel? Is that enough? Like, how much more do the Eagles have to do to be removed from that curse wheel?
You got to survive the curse wheel. They haven't been cursed this year. So
that's true, but I'm waiting for it. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
As soon as it gets spun, everybody's like, I don't buy into it, and then every single week, it's never ending. If people don't know what I'm talking about, surely you're subscribed to Brandon Perna of That's Good Sports, but you should be. If you aren't, and you should be watching the weekly power rankings, but maybe I don't know. Don't go to the very end. Don't watch the curse wheel. Just ignore it. Block it out. It doesn't exist.
It's funny because it's obviously the curse wheel is very real. It has mythical powers, and I was a little worried this year. Maybe this is the year it doesn't work, but it took out the Bengals. It took out the Packers. It took out the Colts last week. So it's on a heater right now, and I need that for my shtick. If my gimmick goes away, man, I think I'm screwed.
It is good stuff. That's good sports. That's what it is. Well, we appreciate you. I need some hope though of maybe some other weaknesses that the Eagles can take advantage of. Anything that you can give us. I know we said the crazy, weird, strange stats, but the Broncos, leading into the fourth quarter, that makes me go, all right, well, we're in for a game. Like the Broncos will probably be winning at the fourth quarter, and we're gonna have a nail biter here. So I need some hope.
No. The Broncos are going to be trailing for all of the fourth quarter, but this is going to be the one game they win. So
okay,
that'll just be weird. I'm just fearful of a breakout game for Saquon. This year, obviously he's had plenty of breakout games, but I'm a little worried about the Broncos linebackers. If I got to point to a weakness on the Broncos defense, I would say that's the area. Now, the Broncos' defensive line is really good. And I think what I've watched, it feels like Philly's having a difficult time getting Saquon to that second level, where once he's past that first wave, I think he's the best in the NFL outside of maybe Derrick Henry, right? It's like first line of defense, you break through, and one of those, Barkley or Henry, it's like they're just gone. And we saw that last year. That really hasn't happened for you guys. We've got a shared, I would say, under the radar, beloved player in Alex Singleton. He was in Philly, right?
Yep.
We love Alex, but he's getting older and he's playing through injuries. He had the ACL last year, and he's just struggled a little bit. Now he's better against the run than in pass pro. That's really kind of like or pass coverage. That's really the issue there. But I would say, your run game can exploit our linebackers if they can get past the D-line. And Broncos D-line is very good. Other problem with the Broncos, it's less tangible. It's more just missed opportunities on offense. So even last week, while they're beating up on the Bengals, we have Troy Franklin dropped just a deep ball. It would have been a beautiful play. And he and Bo struggled last year. Troy had drops. Earlier this season, it wasn't drops from Franklin, but it was Bo. Bo Nix missing, by this much on some of his receivers. So there's been a lot of opportunities that the offense hasn't really capitalized on. And that's the type of thing that against a good team, I think is really going to stand out if they don't fix it. And our other big issue is just the health of our free agents. Dre Greenlaw's on IR. That's why, our linebackers aren't as good as we were hoping. Like, we were really banking on Dre Greenlaw being out there for the Denver defense.
Mm-hmm.
Evan Ingram had missed some time. He's back. I don't think he's fully healthy yet. So it's like those two guys, once Greenlaw's back, once Ingram clicks with the offense, we'll see. But those have been a little disappointing so far.
Okay, so you're telling me there's a chance for Saquon to finally maybe break one. I'm rolling with it. The line was 80.5, depending on where you go, but the 80.5 for the rushing yards. So I'm rolling with it for Saquon to hit the over because it hasn't happened. So I'm very hopeful in that sense. But it's like it's night and day difference. Like we're talking about, that there's maybe not playing off it as much to use the play action. But yes, the line has struggled for the Eagles, which is so weird. Like, yes, they lost Mekhi Becton, right? So he's a beast, good at run blocking, sure. But like that's the only piece that the Eagles didn't return from last season for the offense. 10, 11 starters, and they still have the other O-line. But the difference is, I forget the exact numbers, but it's basically like he had 3 yards before contact last year, and this year it's less than a yard that he's getting before contact. So it's a night and day difference. I hope that they can turn it around. But quite honestly, the bigger concern that I have in this one is y'all's pass rush versus our pass blocking. Because Jalen Hurts has been pressured at the and it's the quickest pressures too. So you look at quick pressure rate, something that your boy Nick Bonitto does very well.
Bonitto's good at.
Yeah, I know, that's what scares me to death. And Jordan Mailata does not do very well against speed rushers. So I'm like,
thank you.
This is that is probably the most terrifying matchup for me. But really, there's been regression from almost all of the O-line this year. Landon Dickerson, meniscus injury, he had surgery like 4 weeks ago. To the average human being, they're not doing anything. They're not going to be, but he's on the field. So that's playing a factor, I'm sure. But he's still out there, not playing like he should. Cam Jurgens had back surgery over the offseason. I think there's something there. You can make excuses till for forever on this, but at the end of the day, like they're just not the same group. So I look at y'all's pass rush and it's like, oh, okay, leading the league in sacks, pressure rates, speed rushers. Oh yeah, let's bring that on. That's great.
The pass rush is a strength. Bonitto's insanely fast, but Jonathan Cooper, who doesn't get a lot of attention on the other side, is really good too. He's consistent, and I think those two working together, in tandem makes a difference. And then our second-year guy, Jonah Ellis, has been very good when he's on the field for one of those guys. I think he got a little dinged up this week, but he should be okay. And then it's Zach Allen, it's John Franklin Meyer in the interior. Like, those guys are monsters. I think they get Malcolm Roach back, so they should get a little better up front too. And I think that's what's been really frustrating for Broncos fans is seeing all those things be successful. And they did a good job against the Chargers, getting and pressuring Herbert. And I think they got to him 5 times, maybe. I forget. They struggled the most against the Colts, the pass rush. But that set up success for the rest of the defense. And they've been good against the run. It's just, I think if you guys can have success on that initial push, that's, where I'm a little concerned. But it's going to be a fun game. I think, for Denver, just based on the level of opponent, if the Broncos can steal a win here, it's like that kind of win that just sets them up for a little momentum and success, because after this game, the schedule's manageable for the Broncos, but this is the big one. And it's in the morning. It feels like Denver never plays well when they go across the country. They play in the morning. Either way, Denver's not had success when going there. So
Okay, and
that doesn't matter obviously today.
Well, but they are playing Fly Eagles Fly at the practices, which I appreciate.
Oh yeah,
to try
get them
to prepare.
ready.
I don't know what that does necessarily because the song only plays when we score touchdowns. So I'm like, okay, I guess
Well,
please,
we're just
by all
getting ready
means.
for
The
Saquon's
offense has an explosion.
Game.
So yes, let's have a Jonathan Taylor performance from earlier this
Your
season.
biggest advantage, I think you got Fangio in a revenge game. Like
there you go.
You never underestimate a guy getting fired by an organization, and it didn't work out. But as you guys can see, like he's a really good defensive coordinator. And you're like speaking of linebackers, you guys have riches at the position. Like Jihaad Campbell's been great. You got Zack Baun, and then Nakobe Dean's going to be coming back from injury, right? Like you've got guys at that position, and so many young and Cooper DeJean. My savior, Cooper DeJean, for pick-sixing Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl on his birthday. And we've got Riley Moss.
I was going to say it's the battle of white cornerbacks this week. Yes, we'll have that answer. Some people are wondering.
Yeah, there's something else about him that's similar. I just can't remember right now. But the Philly defense, it's the youngest defense in the league, right?
Yeah. Yep. Youngest defense, and I think it's either the cheapest or like the second in terms of the cap numbers. So yeah. Oh yeah. We'll take that. Any injury concerns? You kind of went over a little bit, but like injury report wise, I know that Quinn Meinerz was the illness, but then like Sean Payton, he said it'd be fine. I don't know that we have an official update at the time of this recording, but maybe we'll get something later.
Let me look. So far, I think Jonah Ellis still limited. Meinerz, he should be all right by then. Quinn's, he's a beast. And Marvin Mims limited. We'll see. There's nothing too crazy.
Okay. You're feeling confident.
Yeah. I can't use that as an excuse.
Fair. That's fair. I can appreciate that.
We're not the 49ers or Ravens right now, so
there you go. Okay, last question here before we get to the score predictions. I am curious to hear how that goes. And first touchdown score predictions. Tush push. In favor of it? Not in favor of it? Okay.
Yeah, I love it.
Love it.
I tried to die defending it the last couple of years. Trying to get rid of it seems silly to me. Now, I'm probably going to hate it Sunday.
Fair.
It's I guess I don't understand why people really get angry about it, in that like Philly just figured out a way to do something very effectively. And I know it's difficult to stop, but to me, like just removing something because it's hard to stop seems like the antithesis of what football is, right? Like,
Yep.
And it's taken a play that was pretty boring in terms of a QB sneak and is at least drawn attention to it,
That's what I'm saying.
I think like people complaining about you guys, lining up offsides or whatever. That's fair. If you want to like correct it a little bit, go for it.
Sure.
I'll support it.
Okay. All right. So there won't be any, if we win and there's like 7 tush pushes run, you won't be pulling on Adam Schefter and saying this game was won back in March. So that's good to know. I respect you for that.
Is that what Shefty said?
Yes. Yeah. He goes on Get Up and he's like, I think it was after the Chiefs game, or maybe I think it was the Chiefs game. He's like, this game was won in March when the owners decided to not ban the tush push and everything else. So, it's always talking points there and everything. But okay, so speaking of the first touchdown score prediction, always do this with guest and with my co-host on the channel where we're going through game previews. But is it the tush push? Are you going with one of your guys? How do you see the first touchdown score playing out?
I am going to go with one of my guys, and it's the guy I'm the highest on right now, and that is running back JK Dobbins.
Ooh, okay.
Love JK. He is happy to be in Denver. I think he's our best player or skill player on offense right now, tied with Courtland Sutton. Sutton's just reliable. But like knowing everything JK has been through injury-wise, and that, the Chargers moved on from him last year, even though he played very well for the Chargers. Seeing him be the guy that's been the difference for the Broncos in a lot of in their 2 wins, or their last win specifically, and giving him a chance. he will find the end zone first.
Okay. We're going to have to agree to disagree on that one. I'm going to say Saquon Barkley. Not a surprise, but I'm going to say Saquon. Okay, because I like what we were talking about before. He's going to have, like I said, I really want him to have the Jonathan Taylor day. So he had 3 touchdowns, like 170 yards, just some sort of breakout, just to get him. It's the get right game against the Denver defense. That's what we need. So I'll take Saquon as the first touchdown scorer. Score predictions, though. You said earlier Broncos losing or trailing in the fourth quarter, but then coming back to win. So I assume it's a very close outcome.
Yeah. It's going to be one of those games, too, where the score is kind of stupid. So I think Denver kicks a game-winning field goal to win 22-20.
Oh, my gosh. That
22-20. Saquon's going to have all the yards. Yeah. It's going to be Saquon's big breakout game, but Philly's going to lose, so you'd be like, oh, man, Saquon ran really well, but we lost. What does that mean? And Eagles fans are going to get a little crazy this week. And like I said earlier, Denver will trail for all of that fourth quarter. 0-0 on the clock. We get the win finally.
Okay, well. I need you to be wrong for many reasons, obviously. But you say Philly fans, everyone will be panicking, I'm sure, if that happens. And it would only be 4-1. I think we're going to go 5-0. Offense is going to be a little bit better than it has.
Fair.
It is still going to be Saquon, though. Get Saquon going. And I'm pretty close to that, though. I think 24-21 is what I'm going to go with. So
that's fair. The other guy I think might have a big game is DeVonta Smith. So
yeah,
I think obviously A.J. Brown been a little bit, he just hasn't been targeted enough. I feel like Surtain's going to be guarding him most of the game, and that Pat Surtain always does a great job. So I think like the mismatch in your receiving game is DeVonta Smith somewhere, or maybe Dallas Goedert, but like I think Smith will be on Riley Moss will be on Smith a lot, and I don't know if I trust Riley's speed with DeVonta. So that'd be my one concern.
Little
there.
Smitty game. Okay, I'll take that as well. Yeah. So Smitty and Saquon. All right. Well, we'll see who's correct on this. As always, everybody else, make sure to like, subscribe. That's Good Sports. Brandon Perna, you're already subscribed. But if you're not, go. You're almost to 800,000, right? You're like 796.
Close. Yeah, less than 4 away from 800,000.
Go make it happen. Go hit the subscribe button. Let us know your score predictions too. First touchdown score. Get in on that, and we'll see you till next time. Go Birds.
Thanks for having me.